life be like if you just couldn't feel pain? I mean, it sounds like a superpower, right? No more stubbed toes, no more fear of getting a shot. But what if it's not the gift we imagine? We're about to dive into a story that will completely change how you think about our most misunderstood sense. So let me tell you about a 3-year-old boy named Daniel. He's playing outside, he trips, takes a hard fall, and just gets right back up. No tears, no crying, nothing. You'd think he was totally fine. But the first sign that something was seriously wrong, well, it didn't come from Daniel. Hours later, his ankle just starts to swell up, a silent clue about a hidden injury. Can you imagine being his parents? You wake up and the swelling has gotten way worse. The physical evidence is screaming that something is wrong, but the person it's happening to is acting like nothing happened. That silence, it's gotta be terrifying. So they get to the hospital, and the X-ray reveals the truth. A clean break. The doctors were just baffled. I mean, how does a kid break a bone and not even make a sound? This was the start of a huge medical mystery. To really get Daniel's story, we first have to kind of rethink pain itself. We spend our whole lives running from it, but what if we've been looking at it all wrong? You know, we see pain as the enemy, but from a biological standpoint, that's not its job at all. Pain isn't the problem. It's the alarm system telling you there's a problem. It's your body's guardian screaming, hey, pull your hand off that hot stove. It's a fundamental signal for survival. So what happens when that alarm system is just off, completely silent? Well, for Daniel, as he got older, it meant his whole world was filled with dangers he couldn't see or feel. And this is where that superpower idea really starts to fall apart. He would hurt himself in ways that would make the rest of us scream, but he had no idea. He once walked around for days on another broken bone, literally grinding bone against bone because his body never told him to stop. His own body was like a minefield he had no map for. All of these constant, bizarre injuries, doctors didn't know what to make of it. They actually suspected his parents of the worst things imaginable. The real answer was something much, much stranger. A condition so rare it was almost invisible. After years and years of questions, science finally came through with an answer. And it wasn't psychological. It was in his genes. It was like they finally found the one missing wire in his body's incredibly complex electrical system. And here's the official name for it: congenital insensitivity to pain, or CIP. It's unbelievably rare, but it gives us this incredible window into how our bodies are supposed to work. And what causes it all? It comes down to a single typo in his DNA, a tiny mutation in one specific gene, the SCN9A gene. Okay, so how does this actually work? Let me break it down. Think of that SCN9A gene as the blueprint for a tiny little gate in our nerve cells. This gate, called NAV1.7, is basically the volume knob for pain. When you get hurt, that gate swings open, the signal gets turned way up, and your brain hears it loud and clear. But for Daniel, because of that mutation, the gate is just stuck shut. The signal gets created, but it hits a brick wall. It never reaches the brain. Complete silence. So, this brings us right back to our original question. Is this a superpower? Well, the scientists and doctors who actually study this, they have a very different and, honestly, a much more chilling way of looking at it. One word. That's the word doctors use to describe it. Not amazing, not a gift, catastrophic. Because a life without pain isn't a life free from being hurt. It's a life free from being warned that you're hurt. And these are the consequences over time. Injuries just pile on top of each other. Joints get destroyed from all the unnoticed damage. Even something as simple as dry eyes becomes a huge danger because there's no stinging feeling to remind you to blink. The body just slowly, silently breaks down. The people who manage to survive into adulthood do it by replacing instinct with pure logic. They live by this strict set of rules. They're constantly checking their bodies for heat, for swelling, for redness. They have to manually do the job that our bodies do automatically. Survival becomes a full-time job. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is a fascinating, tragic story about a super rare thing, but what does it have to do with me? Well, the lessons from this one gene, SCN9A, could end up affecting millions of us. And here it is. This is the billion-dollar question for modern medicine. If completely breaking this gene turns pain off, what if scientists could create a drug that just turns it down? Could we invent a whole new kind of painkiller one that's powerful but not addictive, by targeting this one specific thing. It's kind of incredible when you think about it. The tragic silence in the bodies of people like Daniel actually holds a key. Their unique genetic code is like a blueprint for how to control pain right at the source. This could be the breakthrough that ends the suffering for millions of people with chronic pain, and it could do it without the awful side effects of opioids. In the end, Daniel's story teaches us something pretty profound. Pain isn't the enemy. It's a language. It's the constant flow of information that lets us move through the world safely. And when you lose that information, life becomes a dangerous guessing game. It really makes you wonder, what other essential signals are we taking for granted every single day?